All right, everybody, welcome back. Let's talk continuo. Another one. I forgot how many this is. I forgot how many we've done. So, you know, 'tis the season, getting close to it. It's Messiah season, or at least it's supposed to be Messiah season. And so, hey, let's play some Hallelujah chorus. Why not? You know what I mean? Let's do it. Hallelujah chorus. Telemon. I'm gonna split this up into 2 videos because I think that this has some talking. This is a big one, so we'll just have this in 2. Okay, so this is part 1. All right. So first off, this is a piece that everyone's familiar with. So I realize if I mess up, you guys are probably going to understand exactly what I did wrong. But what you need to think about this one is avoiding the stodginess. I feel like a lot of times people play, they get really set in their sound and it gets really stodgy and loud and kind of thick. And it's because it's so grand, and you want to be so grand and wonderful. You know what I mean? You just want to play the crap out of this thing. But I actually would really advise against doing that from the position of a continuo player. Mainly because the thicker and sort of the more you drag your heels, the more it just drags the whole thing down. It just drags everybody down. You know, it's like you got a whole orchestra, you got trumpets, you got a whole choir. You are not responsible for the volume of this. However, you want to push as much energy into it as possible. So we're going to talk about that. First off, avoiding playing everything really long and avoiding playing everything really connected. Number 2, we're also going to talk about opening your ears a bit and being ready for the choir and chorus to be doing something that you don't really expect, or maybe something that you see as different, right? So I'm just going to be playing this right now as a version that I'm kind of used to and like what I kind of expect, but I would just like to preface this that, when you sit down with a vocal ensemble and they start playing, you just have to do what they want. So, listening for the vocalists. And we're also going to talk about just a couple of little squiggly things, how to do some phrasing. So let's do it. All right, enough talk. Ooh. That's close enough. So, so we go. Right, that's where I'm going to stop it because there's a nice little page turn and then we get into a fancy little B section. So, you'll notice with this one, what I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to shove as much energy into this as possible. And then we're going to juxtapose between this crazy energy part, this part where I'm just trying to create as much noise as I can, not volume. Not volume. I'm trying to create as much noise as I can. And then we're also going to we're going to take this noise and this volume, and then we're also just going to juxtapose it with this nice connected part that's going to be the parts, obviously, that you're playing with the singers. So you're going to try and, get into their sound and get into kind of what they want. So let's just talk about this. Phrasing-wise, there's some pretty simple stuff that we can do with this. We're going to connect, ba-da-dum, and then we have a little comma. And then I like to think about we have a little fall off here. So we justify here. We go, And all this stuff is kind of right? So you have a couple choices there. We can do this. We can go kind of more of an up thing. I don't know if I like that though. So let's maybe think about this. We're going to go... you see how I connected an extra note in there? I don't really like that either. So let's go... Okay, so it actually, what I end up playing that I like is actually more this and then a comma, and then we go into the next measure here. Okay, a little bit next, that would have helped if I actually showed you what I did instead of just my cello, but you see what I did right here. I just kind of wrote that out. So we have a comma, we go... So you'll notice with the bow hand, this is a good technique. We have a lot of chiff here. I'm using not a lot of pressure, and I'm using quite a bit of bow, right? Quite a bit of bow with a good amount of contact, though. Maybe not pressure, maybe not attack, but contact with my index finger. So I go... Okay, you notice how I'm keeping that contact in there, but I'm not going... That's what we want to avoid. That's when you get into the, the kind of boring versions of this, right? We have a... And you notice how I'm giving a nice little comma right here. Just giving it a nice comma, right? Bang. All right, cool. So, moving on from there, you notice how we have this little thing here, right? Of course, you want to make sure that those are two... You're going to separate that, right? You never want to play those cadences. Those octave cadences, do you ever see something like that with the octave? Right? That's what you want to avoid. Or, notice how I'm going into that E, right? That A there. Don't need to do it. You just... Okay, awesome. Now, moving on. Let's just talk about this hallelujah part, right? So you want to listen for this. You want to make sure it's actually hallelujah, right? It's not hallelujah, it's hallelujah, right? So if that is in mind, we go like this. We go... Notice how I'm using my fingers to go... And then on that one, I really open with my elbow there. So I'm going fingers, elbow. And then on the way back, notice how I'm just barely playing that note. Okay? That's kind of what we want, so that it's hallelujah, right? You don't want this. Or see what I mean? Those are all kind of going to the wrong spot. We want... Right? Great. Okay. Now... Then we do kind of more of the same, and then, bam, we're in a tasto solo. Now this is usually with portion of the choir or something. They're going, right? So you got to listen. That's the part. This is the part where, like, it doesn't really matter what your idea of this piece should be. If you're not with the chorus, you're wrong. It's just sort of one of those rules. I know some people don't necessarily want to hear that, but when people come and listen to this piece, they do not care about the cello. They do not care about the, maybe if they're a cellist, they'll care about the cello, but really what they want to hear is they want to hear those singers. They want to hear them singing these words. And so if you get in the way of that, you're not really doing your job right, to be honest. Because, it's like you want to give the people what they want, and people want to hear the voice. They want to hear people sing this. So you just got to stick to them like glue. For example, if they're going... That part right there is where the big sticking point is, okay? So now, if they're going to play those short, if they're going to sing those short, you're going to go... Or we're going to go... If the choir is sort of feathering those. It just really depends on what you hear and what is there. I am not the authority on how to phrase things as a chorus, so I'm not going to throw my opinion into the ring with that. I'm just saying you should be ready to play that a number of different ways, okay? And so you'll notice, though, I'm also spinning the sound out here. I'm going... You want to keep this one placid, and you want to keep this one connected, and you want to sort of get it to this level where you can play it. It's just going to sit right underneath the chorus, and it's going to create this really fun, nice little like cushion for them to sit on. and then I think everyone's happy. You know, everyone, the people hear the cellist and they're like, cool, but then they really hear the voice and they're like, awesome, this is amazing. All right, so we keep moving on with more of the same, more of the same, more of the same, and then let's take a look at this tutti section though, in this section here, maybe from like right around here, because that's where it starts to get a little fun again, right? So we have, and 1, 2. Make sure you get those rests there. Just mark it in your part or something. You're gonna go 1. So, as I just demonstrated right there, it's really hard to keep this one on. So you're gonna change like gears a couple times in a row. So we have, notice how we have like all 3 themes just like mashed up together. So we have this first one, the right, which is the similar thing here. We're gonna go right, fingers, the. Now on that one, we're gonna land on that D. We're gonna go land on that D. We're gonna go, and then we're out. Notice how, and then I create this comma here, and then we are back to our original texture, and then a long one. Okay, and then we're back. Right? Now, this part right here, I would say this part right here, you just kind of need to make sure to not push this, right? You're just gonna kind of relax on it. So we have a. So you notice how just keep it in the back. Just keep this in the back seat, okay? What we want to avoid is pushing here. We have a. Right? Or just clipping those rests or doing something funny. It's just such an easy thing to do. So just sit in the back. Sit in the pocket here. We have. Now, obviously, this is much easier to do with other people, and this probably won't be a problem if you're with an ensemble that has good rhythm. You know, playing it by yourself just like this, of course, it's super easy to rush that. But if you're with an ensemble that has any inclination to start clipping beats and stuff, this is where they're going to start to do it. Okay, people are just going to rush here. You gotta watch out. Okay, and then we kind of have this thing. I want to do this little lead in into 33. I'm just going to show you this because this is one of my favorite things to do here. This stuff we're leading here. All right, so check this out. We have. Right, all of a sudden we have our little timpani moment, right? And you can only do this if you change gears on a dime. We have you know, with correct C sharps, of course. Then notice how you just change right back into that long vocal thing where you're hooked in with the chorus and you're listening to what they're doing, and then you just tie that together. And then next time we're going to talk about this B section that's on the next page, kind of some interesting phrasing, how to make it sound a little bit more interesting. We sort of talked about that earlier with this sort of with the that part, sort of changing gears really fast. And how can we use that to our advantage, and all these fun little bow techniques and our different phrase ideas, and how can we squish that all together to make an interesting B section? Thank you very much for watching. If you like this, hey, you know, give me a thumbs up. Maybe think about subscribing if you want to see more stuff like this, and I will see you in the next video.